Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is April 8th, 2017, and this is the John Chappell Natural Philosophy Society Science Chat. And today we have special guest David de Hilster. He's going to be explaining to us about our new forums and our Wikipedia. So David, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Okay, why don't we, before I do that, I know there's probably a lot of questions, and that was actually Franklin's suggestion that I talk about the CNPS conference in 2017 in Vancouver. So I'll have him go ahead. Oh, and I can see it. That is super great. If you go to our website, you will see at the very top our conference. We are already starting the proceedings. We have several people, 3 or 4 or 5 people already writing. In fact, we are all well over 100 pages in commitments already for the proceedings. So first thing I would say to all of you is we'd love to have the papers in the proceedings. You don't have to go to the conference at all. The good thing is, if you write a paper in the proceedings and do go to the conference, because we are in the rebuilding phase, obviously, this is our third conference, we get more people every year. But the good news is that everyone will be able to present. We're not going to have 100 people there as of yet. Hopefully in the future those things will happen. But the good news is if you have papers, there's probably a very good chance that you'll be able to present to everyone all of your papers and ideas. And last year, I think we even had enough time to do a half an hour plus 15 minutes of discussion for every paper. So that's just super. So you do want to think about it, because it's always more interesting. You think, well, I go there, what's the big idea? We have our video chats. Believe me, getting together with people face to face, having discussions is quite great. And we're also, this year we have, if you can go to the conference page there for me now, Franklin.
Where is
It's
that?
right at the very top. If you click on the title at the very top,
Click on the title at the
it says
very
right there, conference in green, right there.
there.
Yeah,
Okay.
right there. And then we'll get to the conference page. If we can go down and take a look at keep going all the way further down. I made a poster already for the conference. That is actually, stop right there, go back to the top. That is where this conference is going to be. That's how beautiful this is going to be. That is the location of the University of Vancouver, British Columbia. And it is just absolutely gorgeous. Of course, we're going there in the summer, so we're not going to be freezing. And this year, we're going to have somebody as a guest speaker. We are flying in and paying for him to be there. He's super rare to get. I've tried for literally 15 years to get this man, and that's James Maxlow. So if you scroll down a little further, this is a super rare opportunity to meet, in my opinion, the number one geologist. I don't think there's any dispute about that, for expansion tectonics. If you don't know anything about expansion tectonics, we're going to show you a web page that he and I worked on, or our web page, a Wikipedia entry. But he is, there's Dr. Samuel Warren Carey, is actually very well known. I think he died in the 1990s, but he is actually lauded and applauded in the mainstream plate tectonics, but was an expansionist and was sort of tolerated because he was such a good geologist. In 1994, James Maxlow received a letter from Samuel Warren Carey, who's a legend really in geology, and said, I want you to be and take the torch, literally pass the torch. I think he even made that analogy in the letter, which we have a copy of that on James. I've helped him with his website, saying, James, I want you to be the torchbearer when I'm gone for expansion tectonics. James reluctantly took it. And when he started looking at it, the turning point for him, he told me personally, was when he plotted the South Pole, which they have really good data on exactly where the South Pole starts. It starts in the bottom of Africa and works its way to Antarctica. When he plotted that on a expanding Earth, it fit absolutely perfectly. And at that point, he went from a regular geologist to expansion tectonics. He is the guy in expansion tectonics. So I would really urge you, This is a once in a lifetime probably meeting. He's in Australia. It's not easy. That's why I waited until the West Coast to get him. You'll be meeting a legend and super nice guy, down to earth. His wife gave him permission to travel without her because that would have been way too expensive for us to get him to the conference. I'm still looking for donors, so if anybody wants to help out, we have some money in the bank. We're doing okay, but to bring a person like that, it's just going to be great. So he's going to be there, and of course, Glenn Borkert is going to be. If you go up and back a little bit, I want to say that we are going to be presenting what we call now the Lifetime Achievement Awards, CNPS Lifetime Achievement Awards, to two people who very ironic and very, very great is Glenn Borkert, Dr. Glenn Borkert. If you've not read his 10 Assumptions of Science, he's really influenced a lot of people in the outside of mainstream. And also he'll be receiving the award. He lives on the West Coast in California. He's agreed to come by. I consider him one of the great scientists of our group. And we have, of course, Dr. James Maxlow. So he'll be getting a Lifetime Achievement Award, both of those. Very ironically, though, Dr. Glenn Borkert is a geologist and is still not subscribing to expansion tectonics because he has made his living on showing that those about and finding subduction under California. Now, I have been arguing, and Dr. Maxlow has been arguing that the data he sees can be interpreted as subduction, but it can also be interpreted in a different way in expansionism without a problem at all. But I think he also has pressure because he does still work as a consultant, gets paid, that if he were to start spouting off expansion tectonics, that maybe that would not be good for his business. So it's really hard at times. I sort of laugh at him because I said, you're going to go down in perhaps history with your 10 assumptions, but as a philosopher, you're going to be on the wrong side of geology. He laughs. He says, he does say that he admits that the evidence for expansion is quite good, but I think that's one of the reasons he keeps balking at it. So it's going to be great to bring them together. Boy, that's going to be fun. So anyways, I'm just trying to get you guys excited about it. It really is going to be great. The campus area there is just stunning. The prices there, they have prices which, again, you will actually be able to reserve your own place to stay inside the university. You can stay as little as $40 or $50 a day in very nice, pretty new facilities. We don't have that information up there because I have to put it there, but you will be making your own reservations. And then of course we charge for I think it's $175 this year for non-members and $150. I don't know. We don't make a big difference, but I still haven't gotten those prices, so don't quote me on that. And so it's not a very expensive conference, obviously, to attend, but it certainly helps defray the expenses for the room and all that stuff. So very good. And Vancouver's are very common destinations, so getting there, it's not that expensive to fly, even though it's Canada. And now we can say international conference, even though it's just right across the border. So if anybody have any questions on that, it's here that people want to us to answer. I am here with the chat open, so if you're not audio, any questions anybody may have about this? Probably not. Okay, well, that's good. The proceedings
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When
yes.
is the last date that you can enter a paper for this conference?
We accept up and through the conference. We have no problems.
Until the conference.
Yes. The thing what's really great about the proceedings is that we shut those proceedings down about 2.5 weeks before the conference, and we still will have the conference book at the conference, which is pretty amazing. That's what
I see that you take $15 per page.
Yeah, right. What we do is if your pages are 10 or less pages, we do charge 15 a page. If you start, some people get into 30, 40 pages, we do offer a discount.
Yeah.
So that's not a problem. Those people who can pay, we do that. But right now, the CNPS is making its money by membership fees. Most of our memberships, it's about half and half, or $35 a year. That's for seniors, and $50 a year for non-seniors. The system, I wrote a new system last year that now emails people in a very timely way. If for the last 30 days of your membership, it emails you. The automatic system of reminding people has literally upped our paying percentage of members 50%. We now have twice as many people paid up. It's really not been because people don't pay. It's just they lose track of time. They're not being reminded. Now the system is automatic, and that has really helped. So that's one way we get money, obviously, and that pays for, we have $30 a month for CNPS proceeding, or the shared latex. So you need to be a member to be in the proceedings. So you have to pay your membership, and in that membership allows you to use the shared latex, and that allows us to use Lulu and literally print those. You can be as little as 2.5 weeks out, have your paper done. I can put it in there. We can generate the book and have it printed and ready and for sale and receiving. I think, again, if you have over so many pages, I can't remember what that number is, you do get a free proceedings when you get there, and you can buy them. But that allows us to have a very close time to even the proceedings, so you can get your paper in pretty late. Okay.
Thank you. Is there a place where I can see that at what date my account has to be paid again?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. If you log into the website, can you log in, Franklin, to that?
There's your login.
Yeah, and Franklin, if you can log in, that would be great. I'll show you where that is. See if I can get his push that little button so we can see your password. No, I'm kidding. Uh-oh, I knew this was going to happen. He doesn't log in too much to this, probably.
No, I don't log into this too much. Well, actually, I think the problem is that you give us a special password, and I wasn't able to change it, so I don't know what it is. It's not my standard password.
Okay. I'm wondering what I can do. Here's what I'll do. I'll be sharing my desktop. So when I share my desktop, I'll show who am I talking to? Who was asking the question?
Hans van Leunen.
Oh, Hans. Okay. I will share my desktop, and then I will show that, because I'm going to be doing mostly that. So, okay. Any other questions do we have? Boy, my friend's got to get a new headset. It's like taped here. It looks like so wonky here. Okay. What I want to do then is I'll get into Bruce Nappi. You're here. Is that correct? Is he there? Do you see him here? Let me see.
I'm here, David.
Okay, cool, great. Because I'll go ahead and go first, and then I didn't write really any slide. I wrote some slides about what you're going to talk about, but I'll pretty much hand it over to you once we get there. So if you could bring up the slides first, and then I'll do the demo of the screen share. Do them all at once. See if I can
do you want the forums PDF?
Yeah.
Or the wiki one, forums?
He should go with the forums first, I think. I mean, the wiki.
Wiki, yeah. Go with the wiki one first. Okay. We should be showing the wiki one.
Yeah, and for some reason that thing doesn't show up for me, which is terrible.
Well, it took a while last time to come up too. I'm not seeing it either.
Yeah, and what are you on, Windows 10?
Apple.
Oh, Apple.
10, yeah. And
it maybe just takes time to load, but for some reason I can see the shared screen for Franklin, but I can't see the slides. That's okay. Anyways, it should say CNPS Wiki and forums. Again, I'm only going to introduce the forums. I'm not going to talk about the detail. Is that what you have on the everybody seeing?
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
Okay. All right. So if you can go, I'm going to be talking about the wiki and forums. If you can go to the next slide, please.
Okay, months of work.
Okay, months of work, and it has been. Basically, Bruce and myself have been working literally months. This is not a quick deal. He and I have met many times, actually, to planning both the forums and the wiki. Bruce has been with us working since CNPS 2016. I don't know if Nick Percival's here, but I think Nick was the one who sort of said, hey, we got this Bruce guy and he's got some ideas. And I will be honest with everybody. I've had through the years, I've heard that a lot. And sometimes what it is a lot of times a person's coming in for a lot of motivations other than really helping out. So I was totally not on board with this. I go, okay, I'm going to see this. Who is this Bruce guy? What does he want? Is he going to come in and teach us, the 7 ways to be a better person and tell us things that we already know about marketing and all that stuff? And I didn't want to know about that because I've studied a lot about that myself. Well, it turns out I was absolutely wrong, and I'm delighted to have been wrong. Bruce has been just an amazing person, really very practical like myself. Has really put in a lot of hours, folks. I mean, I am just super grateful. Don't have really much words, but he is. I just want to, give him the kudos he really deserves. In this period, just summarizing, basically we had to upgrade the server, and I'll get into details why that was. We had basically a pretty simple server. I think it was costing $100 for the whole year. And it was totally fine just to do the WordPress and BuddyPress and all those kinds of things. But when we got to Wikipedia, we actually couldn't have a simple one because you didn't have admin access. So, and then I've been installing lots of software and working a lot on software again. I'll be showing you that. And if you can go to the next slide. Should say CNPS Wiki.
Yep.
Okay. So this is what really changed us from having to go to a more expensive server. So we're paying a lot more, hundreds of dollars per year now. That's not a big deal. That's not a whole lot per month. It fits within our budget, so that's okay. We pay it annually anyway, so we always have at least a couple $1,000s in the bank. So and that's sitting there, so we usually can just pay those when they come up. The software is identical for Wikipedia. It's called MediaWiki. You can install it usually pretty easy with automatic installation. But if you want to do it like Wikipedia, you really have to be a programmer. You really have to literally putty your way in, as if those who know programming, into the server, into the Linux server, and get your feet dirty. It doesn't even have a desktop. You're literally doing teletype interface and installing a lot of software. So the installation it says to work like Wikipedia also is non-trivial. So you can install Wikimedia and it looks like Wikipedia. But if you want it, I want the Infoboxes and I want to do this and I want these things to happen, there's a lot of stuff that need to be involved. So that requires direct access to the server. You have to super use your way in, admin into the server directly and work directly on that, be able to work in teletype land. Again, that's a special skill people have to have. The CNPS is moved to a dedicated server. So the CNPS software is now running on a dedicated server. That means it's not sharing, it's not a directory somewhere on a machine that's sharing with other people. It is its own, it's probably virtual, but still that virtual machine is not shared. Then the install, again, what I installed was the Wikimedia. I installed templates. I'll show you what those are. That is really non-trivial. I actually went through that whole process probably wasted about 8 hours on it, and it didn't work, and I had to start all over. So that's very non-trivial. And then there's extensions. Extensions make our plugins. Basically, you can think of that people extend Wikipedia to do certain things. There's one for math, and I actually got it to work literally just last week after trying for 2 months to get it to work. That's a real bear. So if we can go to the next slide. The purpose of the CNPS Wiki, do you see that there?
Yep, got it.
Okay. Yeah, it's very important. One of the biggest problems we have is trying to enter alternative ideas, or even people with alternative ideas into Wikipedia. I'll give you a very good example that I put in that's totally shocking. There is no explanation for this. I haven't really even come up with only theory I have would be something conspiratorial almost. But in the expanding Earth page, they list the people who are supposedly working on this. And there's one person not listed. Who is that? James Maxlow. So I went in. All I did was go into a bullet and put in bullet Dr. James Maxlow. I saw days later it was deleted. You can go to the history and see this. Why? They're listing people who are dissident people, and the top person in that field's not listed. Who's doing that? Why? I mean, that's go in. One of you guys go do it. I did it once. Maybe it's because I am known for dissident work, but why? And this is totally stupid. So the idea is we can't put alternative suggestions like Dr. Lucas. He has incredible force equations. Why aren't those listed there? I'm not sure how much of that is listed. Maybe there is some, I don't know. Dr. Lucas, I haven't looked at that, so I don't want to say it's not. But we should have a place that looks just like Wikipedia, so that if I'm a student in whatever school I'm at, and I want to look at expansion tectonics, for instance, why is there a page on expansion tectonics? There should be all the information about that. And that's not really allowed. So that's the number one purpose of it, is to have that. First, to catalog all science outside of mainstream. So people, students, mostly students, and students meaning anybody who's in school or anybody who's out of school who are students, because today we can learn to be a doctor practically online and never take a course. So, students mean people who are looking to learn. And we have in our Wikipedia, we have the scientists, we have books, we have topics and scientific papers. We want to dispute science on Wikipedia with arguments against, and I'll show you what I've done with that when I get to the Wikipedia live and show you. I've made an a template for that, and I'll show you how to use that, and that's really great. CNPS databases moved in. I think 40 man hours of programming is probably an understatement. To give you an idea how hard that is to take a database, is the database has to be dumped into a certain format of the Wikipedia format from the database. And the database information we had was basically abstracts, and we had biographies, and those biographies had bold and all that stuff. That had to be translated. I wrote a program to translate those. I think it was in C++ in this case, to take all of those things from the database, shove them into files, take the images in those files, take those, make image files, get them into a directory on the CNPS server, and then use an import script in PHP to import that stuff after I reformatted, and I had to test it a bunch of times so it would look good, so that when you got to it, you would see wiki pages. Like, for all of you have your wiki page. If you are in the database, you have a wiki page with your photo there. It was all automatically done. That was a very hard programming problem to do. And I did that all my spare time. I believe I did it over the Christmas break, where I had some actual vacation days from my real job. I work with the supercomputing department at LexisNexis. So I really was very proud of that. That was a really, really hard problem. So this is not trivial. And we now have over 13,000 pieces of information in that Wikipedia. And it's all done in encyclopedic form. If we can go to the next one.
Okay, CNPS member help.
Right, here's where I need everyone to start doing Wikipedia, as much as you can. What can you do? What do we need to do? Well, we need to fill this in the best we can. And what I would like everybody, and you want to think to yourself, how do you motivate people? Well, you get to talk about yourself. It was very motivating for me to be able to sit down and put my history with my own work, my history with dissident work, and what I do. And it's really fun. You get to go in there and create your profile. And I tell people when they do their profiles, I've worked on a lot of these profiles. Greg and I did most of these profiles. Most of the profiles that you see in this database Wikipedia were in the CNPS database, which is db.naturalphilosophy.org. There you will see all the database information. And we have 13,000 pieces of information that was imported. But a lot of those profiles and pictures, we went out and hunted people down, people who had already passed on. He and we spent 3 or 4 years scouring the internet and working with people to get all that information into the database, which is now in Wikipedia. So you can go into the Wikipedia, take a look, type in your name, you should be there. Okay, this is your chance to shine. Like I said, I got to put in there and really make myself be able to talk about myself in a neat way. Hey, we're all very bright people. We've done some really great work. And one of the things that has to happen with this group, I know people may not like it, but it's true. We have Dr. Lucas, who has an incredible, Dr. Lucas, your history of science is incredible to me. It's absolutely amazing. And that profile of Dr. Lucas should be really big. And it should talk about all the struggles he went, all the things he did, the amazing things he did in science before he became really a dissident, and put it in every way you want. You don't have to be afraid about your politics, about your whatever it is, because this talks about it. You have to talk about it, obviously, in encyclopedic form. But I should be able to make a report on Dr. Lucas and about all the stories about when he was working and being groomed to be one of the top physicists in the country by the United States, and then his story about, hey, doing a report on relativity, and it turns out that just killed his career, and that's a tragedy. But it's not a tragedy because I always talk to him, because that's why he's done the great work he has. We wouldn't have gotten that necessarily if he had continued in maybe mainstream science. But regardless, Dr. Lucas, I'd love to have that thing huge. I mean, it should be so well, they're going to go, why does this guy have a Nobel Prize? That's what I make that as sort of tongue-in-cheek, but I don't do that as tongue-in-cheek. We have people in our group that really have that caliber. Yes, they're not going to necessarily get a Nobel Prize because they're ahead of their time, or most all of us are ahead of our time. But go in, pump yourself up, write it about as if someone's writing an encyclopedic thing about. You don't write, I went to the store and then I grew up, and people no, it's a third person encyclopedic. You got to follow that format. The good thing is you can't go in and do that right now. I'll show you, we have that blocked. You can register, but we have to approve you to start doing it, and then we can watch you. We can very much hone in on anybody. We actually had a couple people already spam their way in, but we got a spam. I put an extension on there, and so we're ready for this. And that's the first thing. So if you don't want to participate, if you don't want to help, for instance, with the black hole page, or Big Bang page, which we need to talk about a lot of things against how there's no Big Bang. A lot of people who believe that, at least. We have a lot of things, and really it's sort of fun to go in there. Also, you can put your work in. We don't have the second thing there, you can says this is your chance, it should be a chance for your work to shine. It says change. Add the body of your abstracts. I'm going to show you that I've actually got a converter. If you have had your papers in Latex, I wrote a converter in a language called NLP++, because my specialty is human language and computers. It was actually a computer language that my friend and I developed. I'm one of the authors of a computer language. It's really a computer language for human language, and I use that to do a converter. So if you've written anything in Latex, I've got a converter, and I'm going to show you. And yes, Dr. Lucas, it handles very complicated equations, because the Wikipedia now handles Latex, because I put a plugin for that, and I'm going to show you a live example of that. So we don't have that. I couldn't take PDF and get to Wiki. PDF to Wiki is possible. It doesn't exist anywhere. Being a computer programmer, I think I can do part of that. I'm going to try to do that. If I can do that, it could actually be a business, because people would want to do that. But our goal is to get in all the papers, over 6,000 papers, to have their bodies in the Wikipedia. So when you type in a search, you're going to get those hits, and you'll be able to then find all the papers. but I'm going to show you that. So that's one thing you can do. If you have it in PDF format, you can take the PDF and cut and paste it in if it's not a big paper. It is work, but the rule in life is if you want your work out there, you have to put some hours in to market it. And this is going to be a great place to have already we have over 13,000 pages in our Wikipedia. That's pretty awesome. Correct import problems. Boy, when you make imports, you get problems. And I'll show you that. It's real easy. And it really becomes fun. I don't know. I'm sort of a trivia person. So I started going in and I start playing and I start editing our wiki. And I could probably go on for hours. It's sort of fun. You go in there and then, oh, we're not talking about special relativity. I'm going to make the page for that. And I start typing it in a way that is from our point of view. And I go in and I find other people's page. I go, wait a minute, this person has this. And I go in and add that. Now we have a place that's permanent, that's going to be there. And it's in a very wonderful, it's put in a way so you don't come here and necessarily see little green men and all kinds of weird things. This is real science that we do, and we've been wanting to do this for a long time. Work on others' profiles and papers. You can go in and you find it, I'm just going to go in today, I'm going to do a half an hour of wiki editing. The Wikipedia is edited mostly 95 to 98% of the true editors there are all unpaid people who like to simply work on the information. And since we love science, it's really a great way to actually learn about stuff. And you go in and just pick a page or pick something and start, oh, this has typos in it, I'll go and fix it. You know, I can add some things here, things that I know that aren't in there. So it gets to be very contagious, it gets to be addictive. You can help with generic information. Again, I'll show you some of that. We need to do that a lot more. I mean, we have the Big Bang, we have those kinds of things that we can fill in. And we also can help identify editors. I have Dr. James Maxlow. I'm going to show you part of how that we already did that. It's a fantastic success story of how we have editors. And so we want to do that. And find, so you can be thinking, you know, Dave, so-and-so would be a great editor in our group for the Big Bang. They talk about it all the time. Again, they have evidence against it, and that would be a good person to talk about it. So, and then if you can go to the next page, the last
CNPS
one, I believe.
Forums.
Right. And I'm just going to introduce those, but I'm not going to talk a lot about it. So we're going to get to the forums after I do a session here. So I do want to just introduce and let you know what Bruce has done, and he'll go ahead and do his presentation. But the forums are directed by Bruce Nappi. We started at CNPS 2006 when we started communicating. He worked with the CNPS email chains, trying to get those into an MIT system. He'll talk all about that. Quite amazing. And when he went through the forum software selection process, I put one up there and he goes, this sucks. Excuse my language, but this is not good. And so he was looking at them, and we eventually, he said, hey, I like MyBB. It's based on PHP. So I took a look at it. I really liked it as well. I think it's a great system. I'm very happy. We're very happy with that system. And that was his doing. And also he brought the topics in from email chains into the forum, and he will not now talk about it, but he will talk about it. So I would like to share my screen, which I believe I can do here. Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to see, I should be able to share my screen. Let me know if you see this.
Okay, we see your website there.
Okay, our website.
Philosophy.org.
Okay, so do you see the home page there, everybody? Okay.
Yep, seeing it.
All right, so I'm going to answer the question of the person who says, how do I know about my dues? Well, I have logged in. You can see I'm logged in as David D. Hilster. You get this. When you log in, you're going to see my profile. If you click on that, that's your profile. But you see membership. So if you click on membership, you will see here, you are exempt from paying dues. Well, that's because I have an exempt status. But if you go here, it will show you the dates of everything. And you will show you all your payments. That's only when you log in, and it'll show you when your next payment. And we calculate. One of the questions I get, just a second, okay. Okay. One of the questions I get, sorry, I'm here in my friend's house, is, well, what happens if I pay in the middle? I'll give you, Lou is here. She's a wonderful lady who helped us with the nonprofit. Lou, I have to tell you, you're paid up through 2018 or 2019. People keep paying their dues. If you pay on top of your dues, we literally calculate that and it's accumulative. I wrote the software, so we have people who are paid up through 2019. So anyways, if you go to this page, if you go here and you click on membership, and then if you need to pay your membership, you can come in here and you can pay it. It's through PayPal, but of course PayPal will accept credit cards without becoming a member. It will try to steer you in becoming a member of PayPal, but no, PayPal does accept credit card payments without you becoming a member. So that's that about this website. Your profile's here. The profile that I have, this is what the database information is, but this thing is go and find out how you can edit your pay your membership, and also you can even edit your profile, whatever. But you want to really transform this to Wikipedia. Eventually I want to get it so that the profiles are going to point to the Wikipedia profiles. That way we'll have everything there, because that system is much better for information. Let's face it, the reason we would want a Wikipedia is because Wikipedia's job is to make an encyclopedia that's very accessible and easy to get to topics and just click around and get to where you need to. So that's that. Let me go to the Wikipedia. If you go up here, you can click on Wiki at the very top. That's new. It's only been added in the last few weeks. So that's pretty new. And here we are at the Wikipedia Natural Philosophy. Exact software that is for Wikipedia. I have many of the functionalities that, again, you have to be a programmer to do that. And you can see we have the number of pages that is live, 13,149 pages, mostly imported. So if we go to scientist, you click on this. These are just quick links. These are categories. This is actually, this part you see here is not Wikipedia. I actually programmed a small portion I call the plugin. I also made another hook into the data so that it actually takes people's, look at that, there you go, David, a test count, imported. That's wrong. So, and it will do commas, and that is actually done in a very kludgy way, but it actually does work. You won't see something like this on Wikipedia. So these are the next page. So if you want to click, I want to get to Hilster here. Look at my page, go down here, Hilster David. There I'm at. This was imported directly from the database, and this is what it looks like. It imports the media, in this case, a documentary. So, I want to be here talking about my documentary, and that can't be reached from here for some reason. It's all right. Okay. Anyways, don't know why that is. All right. Oh, I spelled it wrong. So there you go. So if you have to edit it, what does it look like when you edit? I will log in. So this is the first thing. You want to come in, look at your profile and say, that's stupid. What did they put in there? Or no one put it in there, or somebody put it in there. I need to edit it. What's Wikipedia format look like? It's called using analogy. This group, I can't stress more that very intelligent people here. Well, this is wrong. Einstein. See, it's spelled wrong. So I can go in here. I did this on I'd like to say I did it on purpose, but I didn't. Einstein, still wrong. Einstein, wrong.com. So there we go. And I can preview the changes. Hit preview here. I can see it. Click on this. It goes to another page. Does that go to my Einstein wrong? There it goes. Gets to the website. Einstein wrong for the movie. Wow, there we go. So that's good. I can say this is a minor edit. The reason you say minor is they have a history, and that just makes the history say to people, hey, this isn't like adding a whole paragraph. And there we go. Again, all this stuff, pictures and all that are here. Now, there's a lot to talk about, so I want to keep moving here. Let's take a look at another thing. You notice there's this, what we call an info box over here in the contents. The table of contents is actually automatically generated. If you see here, these are titles. There is Wiki Help. There's a million things about Wiki Help, but it's pretty simple. These, if you put little equal signs on both sides, that's the top level header one. put them on both sides. That will make little headers, and those headers then end up making a table of content, and there it is. You can have subheaders too. If you put 2 on each side, that's number 1 header. If you put 3 on each side, you get a smaller, you get a subsection. So you can go to a place that has subsections, etc. You can do that. So here's, again, this is sort of an encyclopedia. Look, I put my early life. There you go. That's what I'm saying, folks. Come in here, go wild. Talk about how you became a scientist and why you are such a great science mind and why you got into this. These things, the human story is really important for, I mean, the human story, again, I used Bill Lucas. He has an incredible human story as well as the scientific one. That should be in here. So when a person's doing a report, well, I think, you know, there could be better force equations in the world. And I found this amazing scientist who came up with better force, that's unified the force equations, etc. Then they can do a report on it. They can talk about his life, his background, and cut and paste and hand in this. Hey, this will be great. We will advertise ourselves for no one who goes here, who in the scientific community, you can plagiarize like crazy because no one goes and checks this. Kidding. I don't know if you got that joke, but yeah, they can cut and paste and use this into the reports because their teachers won't end up here. But hopefully that will change. Let's go to another thing. I'm going to talk about this. See this David D. Hilster, this picture, my born and all that stuff? That is formatted, and those are called Infoboxes in Wikipedia. They're made with templates, and I have imported literally thousands of templates from Wikipedia. So we do have those. So I'm going to go over here. There's a link over here. This over here changes. The tools will change depending on your level. If you are only an editor, you won't see everything that over here. But over here you can see our organization. That goes directly to our web page. Oh no, that's not right. Nope, I was clicking on the wrong one anyway there. This will go to, if you look at the bottom, it goes to naturalphilosophy.org. You go to here, the Wiki work group. I have people here. Right now, I just call myself the editor-in-chief. There's an editor because he's the secretary. Editor, you can see I put for geology is Dr. James Maxlow. I put editor here because Bruce Nappi, he is one of the key people that we have who is about information. I put my dad as gravity because he actually knows probably more than anybody about other people's gravity things. So this is where I told you, do you have somebody that, or do you want to be someone, hey, put me down as the editor for things for all things black holes. And I like the whole thing, and I'll get everybody's information and arguments for and against, and I'll do black holes or the Big Bang. So if you want to become an editor of some topic, let me know. We'll put you in there. Wiki rules, let's talk about that. Right here, it says, these are the reasons why Natural Philosophy Wiki Wikipedia exists. Here's the great thing that we have, naturalphilosophy.org. We bought that. It was not cheap. It was almost $1,000. But what does it gain us? We are the holders and owners, basically, of Wikipedia, of natural philosophy. And we want to be the people who put that forward in a very scientific and wonderful way. So this is the natural philosophy Wikipedia. And that makes, what makes us different? Well, we are closed to public editing. And you think, oh, that's terrible. That can't be. Well, the first reason is why open wikis by nature are consensus based, which is not conducive to the advancement of science. That's an absolute fact. We don't have to argue that. That's why we have it closed. We don't let people come in here. They're going to start saying that this is not accepted by them. So basically, Wikipedia is the consensus place on planet Earth. And there's good things about that, and there's bad things about that. We know what those are. Wikis leads to marginalizing criticisms of mainstream science. They call it pseudoscience. They've backed off a little bit because they've gotten into trouble because they've labeled stuff that even mainstream science now is considering to not be pseudoscience. So they are opening up a little bit, but I don't think they're going to open up to the level that we will. Wikis lead to marginalizing and pseudosizing scientific alternatives. That's what I said. The gay peoples are arrogant and they're most part intellectuals and are not critical thinkers. I myself have made this, being a linguist, I call intellectuals people who want to look smart. They're not necessarily smart, very different from critical thinkers. Rules for the Wikipedia, all criticisms that have scientific merit are allowed. Scientific knowledge will not be judged by the author's credentials. That is, we can't, if you put in something and you are a truck driver, we don't care. Scientific knowledge will not be judged by the counts of references to that knowledge. That's one of the things they say, this isn't reference. Doesn't matter here. We do not want to do politics, conspiracy theories, UFOs, religious knowledge, that kind of thing. We just don't want to do that here. That's worked very well for us. Let's stick to the theory. Doesn't mean that you cannot say that I am a creationist, or I am an atheist, or I'm a Buddha, or I am a Green Party. You can talk about who you are and what you do in your profile. There is absolutely no problem. But when we talk about science, we want to stick to the science, and we want to keep those things out that will keep us, it'll keep us in harmony, and that, I think, that works out best. Scientific assumptions are also are to be included in any and everywhere, anywhere and everywhere possible. That's what we want. We also want to do that. We want to put scientific assumptions down as much as we can. I think I have a link to this, putting down here. Talk about Neil Munch, who is in the National Philosophy Alliance. Oh, I click on the National Philosophy Alliance. Oh, there you go. Oh, the John Chappell Society. Oh, there we go. So there are things there already. Now let's go back to scientific info boxes. That's very important. Okay, scientific info boxes. I'm going to go here and get rid of a lot of these tabs. They can start accumulating. So sorry about that. All right, info boxes back here. Info boxes. Info boxes are things that you use to make those wonderful little boxes you saw over with what we saw. We have one for person. So if you're going to add a person, you need to use assigned person's info box. I have two here that are more filled out. Greg and myself, you can go that. And the good thing is you can literally copy and paste them from somebody else's and just refill them in. But this also, info box is huge. Person info box I got from Wikipedia, and it's absolutely huge. Scientific paper, that's one I made up. I'll show you that. We have one for the books, that's from Wikipedia, so it's a full book one. Have organizations, that's from Wikipedia as well. Those are huge. And film. If you have a film, you made a documentary, you know of a film that's there, I put that in. We'll be putting more in here as you get. Let's go to scientific paper, because that's the one I built. So if we click on that, this I built an info box. Now you see, this is the copy and paste that you can put anywhere and fill that information in. You copy and paste this, put it at the top of the page, you put in your title, you can put in the URL, authors, keywords, that website, and that will turn into something, as you see on this side over here. Optional means you don't have to put it in. If you don't put in those things, it will beep at you and complain. Wikipedia will complain about it. So this goes in. If we go back to, here we go again, getting too many papers. If we go back and we come back to mine, let's take a look at this one. Here's my info box. Here it is, right at the very top. It's called Infobox Scientist. In this case, oh, it shouldn't be person. I am sorry. I've got to change that. I'll change that later. But it should be scientists. The best thing is to go and copy these. Sorry about that, folks. Scientists have different things. They have known for instance. You don't have that for a person. But here it is, my name, my image. That is, images are Wikipedia pages as well, but it's, of course, has a thing tied to it. You can put in a birth date in a certain format. If you don't, you can just type it in. If I wanted to, I could just put in, 1959. I don't know I can just literally type it in there. It will take it, but there's a special format that you can use, and it will automatically make it look pretty. Fields, you can see that. So you do that, and then you start. Usually you have the introduction, and then people, you put whatever you want in: education, professional background, early life, yeah, that whole thing. So these are info boxes. Let's go back to the info box page. We'll go to organization. We'll go to the CNPS. We have here an organization, Infobox organization. This has to be in this format. You can't change this name. This name will tell Wikipedia that this is an info box. So here you have the name, you have the logo, blah, 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 blah. Key people, Cynthia Whitney. Let's see, this should be in here. I don't put the, William Lucas. It's probably not the way it's in the Wikipedia, folks, but hey, so I can go down here, show preview. And there it is. And there's William Lucas, but that's not his really name. So how do you get there and find out? Well, I've imported them. I'm going to leave this page. Imported them. Just giving you how this all works. Darn it. I'm just showing you how you can do an editing session. Charles William Lucas. So if I go back, oops, stay. Charles William Lucas. Why do I have it in these double brackets? That's the way that says this is the exact name of a page. So if I put brackets around it, you can see that those brackets, see there, Dr. John Chappell, that will make a link to his page. That's how you do it in Wikipedia. All right, so now I'll go down here, say this is a trivial edit. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. I want to get moving along here. Save changes. And now, for sure, those are too prominent. He should be there. I'm sure we should put some more people there, but there it is. And now you see Charles William Lucas. If I click on that, I get to his webpage. Okay. And you see, there's not much history there, Mr. Lucas. You should have pages. Your early life. I mean, seriously, please, if you need help or you've got it and you want us to help, let's put it in there. You're one of the amazing scientists. We have many amazing scientists, of course, but that gives you an idea. So that's how you do it. If you want to do one of these, the best way is not to go to this. Here, I'll show you. Oh, I do have science person. Let me show you a scientific page person of the template, how enormous it is. This is imported from Wikipedia. It's going to take some time too. Oh, wait a minute. Is it actually busted? Nope, no, there you go. This is a typical template page. Look at the monster size of this. So this is, we are Wikipedia full blast. And for you to find which ones, here's one. Here's a basic template. So you'd go and find this. But what's probably easier is to go and take a look at our pages. And again, I apologize. It keeps opening up pages. Just go to, something like that. Now let's go. I'm going to, we got lots to do. But special pages are for we people. I'll take you a look at it. If you're an admin, you can come in here and see, for instance, user lists. Let's see who are actually contributors. Admin, Bob D. Hilster, Critical T. I don't know. I got to talk with that person. Ed Dowdy, Glenn Borker, James Maxlow. He's a director. Jeff Bauer. Manuscript, that maintenance script. That's when I run automatic stuff. You can actually see how that was done. Memes is a person, again, and Nick Percival, those are the people. All right, I'm going to show you something really pretty fantastic, and that is I'm using a natural language processing to translate Wikipedia. This is our latex. This is a paper from Renshaw, Kurt Renshaw. And so I took, and I'm using NLP++ to process this latex. This is what you will do when you're doing your paper in latex. Okay, these aren't word wrap, so these lines go on long. That's why you don't see them. But I made this analyzer with all these rules using this language, which is actually open source. You can get it, but this is a natural language processing system where you can take things and write programs to understand stuff. And it comes out with an output in Wikipedia. And you notice this has a lot of math. It not only has a lot of math, but in latex, you make references to those things. So I wanted to show this, especially for Dr. Lucas here, how this is really great. So I can take this and I'm going to copy this. So this is a translation. I just basically come over here, put it in here. You don't have to do this. I'm going to try to make this into a service. And I can take anybody's paper that's in share latex or in latex and have a translator to Wikipedia. It's the only one at this level that exists, and it's using the software and interface that my friend and I developed with our language that we made. So if I go back to Wikipedia and I search for Renshaw, he's a guy, really bright guy, does a lot of work for in special relativity. Go down here and here's his paper. Of course, we have his paper in PDF format. And here it is. This is what's generated. This is what you see. And of course, this is in a much better format because we use latex and that kind of stuff. But if I go back here and I look at this, we only have abstract in here. So what can I do? I've now taken what he had put into share latex. I'm going to go down here, get rid of all this. I'm going to then do a copy and just take this to say this is amazing that you can do this, and we have this natural language processing. So I'm going to now take this. I'm going to say show preview, and it will translate and we'll get this entire paper in. It already has subs and subjections. It gets that right. It gets the equations, it numbers the equations, and then it also, because of the natural language processing system that we built, we can make a knowledge base. As we process this, we can take care and find all the references and make the references all at the bottom using a reference plugin that I made. That's got a little error in it. But all these references are in the paper. They're all translated automatically. The inline math is all translated. The numbers of the equations is already translated. So if you go here, you'll see numbers. Where are the numbers? Oh, you know what? I think this, take it from me that the numbers are supposed to be there, but because I'm in California, I had to bring this analyzer from my home computer to this computer. I forgot that I didn't have this software on it, but it also does oh, here we go. It has figures, and it will put in the thing. So trust me, this is not the demo I wanted to show. It's on my machine at home, but it also does every reference that he talks about for number 5 also comes in here, like this.
Your web page format, not in page format, and that's why the numbers are in the wrong place.
No, that's not why. Because the reason is because when you do the Wikipedia format, here, no, I understand what you're saying. In here, you can see here's the inline math that it's translated to, but there's also references that get translated. The references are here, like ref. You just have to search for ref. But in latex, you have ref. So yeah, here's one. See it? So it's given by equation this. I translate that as well, but I think because I brought over the thing from my home computer to this computer, I didn't get all the latest version of it. But those get translated in. Literally, this will be replaced by equation 4. Okay, it's automatic. So basically, what I'm saying is, I don't have this completely done, and this is not the latest version, but we have taken a paper that is in latex and with no modification. The only thing you have to do is you got to go and put in you have to click on this, and I'll leave this page, and you have to upload your diagram, and that's it. So that's pretty amazing. So what it means, everybody who is using the share latex or can get their paper into latex, that is all the proceedings since we started using latex, will automatically be able to be imported in. We just have to do a little bit of work. So that is absolutely super news. That means every paper written right now in share latex, in the share latex, will be able to be imported into this system. Okay, one last thing I want to show you. If you read about this, it talks about the purpose of this Wikipedia is to provide a place where students in science and critical thinkers can access a more encompassing, up-to-date repository of scientific knowledge that includes viable alternatives includes viable alternatives to consensus-driven knowledge collection. For it is only outside the mainstream where you will find the next revolutions in science. You notice this little box here. And I go here and I talk about the role of traditional role encyclopedias is to be, Wikipedias, blah, blah. And it explains why this is needed, why we need this. It says challenging the mainstream. Some of the current theories being challenged, the Big Bang. So let's click on that. This is our web for the page. This is David D. Hilster putting it down. Somebody should come in and start filling this in. That's why I'm pleading to people, hey, let's start building this. So let's edit this. How did this come in? I made a template. It's called Wikipedia Dispute. All you have to do is copy this template, and then all you have to do is put in the name of the page in Wikipedia. That's all you do. I made this template. I programmed it myself, and you show preview. It will make this entire box, put this icon here, and it says Wikipedia dispute. It'll make this link, which goes to the Wikipedia Big Bang page, and it says here, automatically generates this, the Natural Philosophy Wiki page disputes content found on this Wikipedia Big Bang. Okay? What it means is this is in somewhat a protest of why we're not being able to see this stuff, arguments against on Wikipedia, which is pretty stupid. So this is a big red box that says, hey, we're in dispute with this. And this is, I think that was an interesting addition. So that's also there. You can see also, let's see. Okay, you can see plate tectonics, eternal universes. That's just another idea. Okay, I'm going to show you the one last thing, and then I'll hand it over to Bruce. Expansion tectonics. Here's what we did. This shows the full glory of what we can do. This, when you click on it, is written by James Maxlow. Now look at the size of this. I'm going to scroll. Look at the size of this. If you are a student and you want to learn about expansion tectonics, key principles, evidence, empirical data modeling, gigantism, here's Stephen Hurl. I need to get more of this stuff in here. This is not good. We need to put more. Stephen, I'd welcome you to add to this and put in your scientific part here. Stephen Hurl is here. There he is. He's got his books are already in there, Stephen. Again, I've imported this, so they're all there, but we need you to go, Stephen. I want you to go hog wild. Put it in there. All of this. Look how big this is. This is huge. Look at all the diagrams. This took me and James Maxlow took us hours and hours and hours. But look at that. This is us shining. This is what we need. I aspire us to do in all of format. This is a real wiki. This is a real chance for us to do it. We have lots of data there. And one other thing I do want to show you. The import, the most messy place are the scientific papers. If you click on full papers, I'm starting to put in full papers. And this is when with my translator, I'm going to have all the full papers. I'm going to do it myself, put in here. So there's a difference between scientific papers, which just have the abstracts. Look, there are 6,000 of these, 6,088. Look at things in here. You'll see problems, question marks. You'll see funny titles. You'll come in here. You'll see that this person, you'll see the name of it. This is the scientific paper. This is what we need to start filling in. And this was all done automatically. You can see who did it, Robert J. Bennett. This is all. So this is a place where we need to start putting in our papers full time, full blast. So that's what I really wanted to show. And I will stop my sharing. There we go. And thank you so much for your time. I didn't want to cut into, and so we have some questions. Go ahead. Let me take a look if there are so many questions here.
I have a question.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm Hans van Leunen. I never program my formulas in Latex. I just use the word equation editor.
Right.
And I can produce PDF files and I can produce HTML files. That's it. How do we get into Wikipedia?
Well, yeah, David D. Hilster is working on that problem. I will say to you, going from PDF to wiki format is a business. You could literally make that as a web page and you'd have millions of people coming toward you. So the first answer to that is there is no converter for that right now. That's a very hard problem. PDFs are hard to get at because there's very few people that write code, computer code, mostly in C++, that can read PDF formats. HTML to Wikipedia, I can do that using NLP++, the language my friend.
The problem with HTML is they disturb formulas very often.
Well, the thing is though, yes, we have to do that. But here's my suggestion. All right. First, if you have your most important papers, if they were in the database already, you can do it by cutting and pasting. I know it's a pain, but maybe get in some of your better papers. The other thing is, what I would personally do is I would look, I'm going to try to I'm trying to make a converter from PDF to Latex. And I have that special, I have some, being a programmer, it's going to involve C++ and NLP++. And it'll probably be the only one of its kind. But if I can get to that, that'll make it easier. But what I would suggest, if you have papers that you really want out there, you know, cut and paste them into Latex. It's not that, Wikipedia, it's not that hard. So that would be the first step. The other step that would be better if you're a paying member is to go to Share Latex, make yourself a folder and start putting your papers into Latex format. I know that's a pain, but again, do your most important ones, hoping that Dave D. Hilster will find the time in like everybody's busy life to actually solve this problem programmatically. I think it can be done. I might even see if I can get an investor or something to do that, because that is that's not something like, oh, that exists, it's free. That's a hard programming problem. So that's what I would suggest. Either put it in Latex first, then you would have it ready to print in PDF or any format
then
you want.
I have to learn Latex, and
it's not that hard.
I'm 75. I'm very good in writing in Word equation editor, and
yeah, but the Word equation editor, I will tell you the truth. People even at your age who have used that and then they use Latex, they won't go back to the Word editor. The Word editor really takes a lot of time, mouse moving and moving here. It's terrible. The Latex, once you get used to it, talk to, Harry, I think, is here. It's just getting it. But let me say this too. There are people that we can get a hold of. If you want, you're going to have to pay them, because or find somebody, a friend who wants to do it. Find somebody who will convert them for you. Some people will do it at $5 a page. So, I know, I'm sorry, but that's not much I can do. I can only do as much as I can. If I have a converter, I'm going to put a web page on it, make a name for that converter. Heck, we'll pump money in the CNPS, because a converter like that is worth, people will pay for it. So that's the best I can tell you on that answer right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I have a question, David.
Yes. Hi, pal.
Yes. Hi. I was wondering if any place in the CNPS, the world, so to speak, some place articulated the CNPS copyright policy.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. And because here's what I would say, it's the right time to do that. And if you, obviously you're an expert in that, right?
Not really.
Oh, come on. I was trying to make you an expert to help me out. So
no.
But regardless, you're absolutely right. In fact, let me, if you go to, I will do this again. Let me share my web page, this again. If you come to the main page, I believe, you go down here, there's a Creative Commons attribute. It says content is available under the Creative Commons attributions. Now, there is a link that we have on pages that we can make on Wikipedia. And here you go. And it'll talk about copyright. So Wikipedia already comes with the default. But on pages, we can, I'm not sure. Let's go to Ether. This is a bunch of stuff that's in Ether. I'm seeing if we have a copyright. Sometimes on the pages you'll see that, oh, here it is, about natural philosophy wiki, and here, here's where we would put like copyright information. So yeah, we need to do that, and we need to find out how, what we want to say. That's a question for the directorate and the membership. So yeah, let me put it this way. I'd love to have that problem that we have to worry about that a lot. And I don't think there anybody here that worries that, oh, they took my work and they published it. Can you believe that? It's like, well, that would be nice. So, but yeah, that's a good question. We should have that. And that's something we should do this year.
David, this is Bruce. I have a question.
Oh, yeah, Bruce. Hey.
Yeah, no, I want to go back to what Hans was saying. Because I've talked to him about his formats. I think what he's asking, and Hans, if you're listening, correct me if I'm not right about this, but he's wondering is, can you build a translator from doc files, not PDF, from doc files? Is that the easier?
Let me put it this way. If I can do all these things, and I'm being absolutely serious, I've been in 35 years as a computer programmer. I've been in startups. I've been in everything. If I can do that with Word documents, and I can do that with PDF, that is a business.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I am not lying to you. So the funny thing is I'm sitting there. Here I am with probably the most advanced scientific group on the planet and in human history, working with them. And at the same time, we need to put stuff onto things that everybody thinks is there. And not only that, I have to invent software that doesn't exist. And to do that, I'm using an NLP++, which my friend and I developed. It's the only human programming language for human language. So yeah, that would be great. And like I said, I could probably probably put it on a Kickstarter and get enough people to fund me to work for a year, a sabbatical, to do it.
Sure, but my question is because you know somewhat about the doc languages and stuff, you know whether it's an easy task or a hard one. And
here's what I would say. I would say it's a hard task. It's a hard task.
Okay, that's the answer, I think.
The only thing I think possibly, if we were to save it in RTF, the rich text format, is actually the way to go about it. I would do it that way. So I would save the all Word documents are Word RTF. RTF is Word. I mean Microsoft. And so RTF is guaranteed to be completely ASCII. Where you have PDFs and you have Word, you have compressed information in there. And that's why you can't go to open source. Adobe makes it very hard for you to go into a PDF and parse that file, because they'll literally take the text that's in PDF and encrypt it and compress it. Right. And very few people have hacked it. I know of one guy in California. I found him, one guy, and he has been on my case because I said, "Man, if I crack this code and I use your code for it," I said, "we could start a business." So, Dave D. Hilster starts a Kickstarter, and maybe we'll be able to do that.
All right. Well, here's where I'm coming from, and this is where I think is the value of these video seminars that we're having. Is one thing for to give a presentation, but the other one is we put our heads together. We can solve problems that. Sure. Yeah, and in this case, your suggestion to go from doc files to RTF is absolutely trivial for somebody who has a doc file, because they just save it.
Sure, sure. But we still have to make the RTF then to Wiki or RTF to and what I showed you, NLP++. Again, the reason NLP++ works so well, it's used for human language, which means you can take text and you can have it start reading the text and understanding that text. And because text is format, it's not a formatted text. When you do these types of things, these translations from one language to another, you have to do bookkeeping. As you find all the references, I got to bookkeep somewhere, so that when I go into Latex or I go into Wiki computer language, I then can translate it and put it in the right place, because Wikipedia does references way different. In fact, Wikipedia has references only as a plugin. It's an extension, and the person who wrote it did it in a certain way. And you have to literally, it's not a translating, here you have bold and bold goes to this and you keep it in the same place. No, it can be a completely different system. So it's very possible for this RTF maybe to get RTF into it. I could do that with NLP++. I just thought of that talking to you. So there you go.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think there's genius in this, because if that's simple enough, I mean, you look into it for an hour and you say, okay, I can do it. Or you look at it and say, it can't be done. And then we know. But if it's doable,
I would say that this task on mine, because I'm an expert in natural language processing, that language, if I didn't know that language, it would take a lot longer. I would say I could get a good idea within 8 hours of work. 8 hours.
Well, again, there's a value to it. So.
Yeah, 8 hours at $150 an hour. Okay, let's see, 150 times 8. That's what I do consulting, but I don't do it very often. But yeah, okay, yeah. Someone should slip me $1,500. I'll get it done.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Joking, folks. Calm down. Next thing you know is Dave's making money off CNPS. I can show you my bank account to dispute that.
Now I am looking. You guys brought this up. They do have word to latex converters already. I'm looking at if you just,
but they do, but I don't think they include equations.
No, I'm looking at one that apparently does specifically the equations.
Okay, well check on that. That would be great. I have not found any. I looked at that, and
like grind EQ math utilities. I don't know whether that's, but I don't know. Someone should you know, check that out, see whether
no, absolutely
things like this actually work.
Yeah, I've seen that. No, I've seen that. I've been to that page. So yeah, I mean, we can those things can be looked at and see if that will work. But what I've found is those things are so, normally what happens is they're so bad that you end up, the editing you do is harder than just cutting and pasting. So, well, absolutely, if you can find something, that would be great. Send that link to me, okay, Franklin?
Yeah, I'll just put that in the chat there.
Because I'm a person
can
that
take a look at that.
If the converter doesn't do 95% of it, people won't use it. They won't use it. So.
This is Bill Howell. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Bill.
Yes. Sorry, I'm connected by cell phone.
No problem. No problem at all. Glad to have you on.
Thanks, David. I have a protected, perhaps a bit off-topic question, but it does relate to the functionality of what you said. I got dragged into an education.
Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Neural network. For how expandable is this? Things like blogging, like the Wiki Press and that, I thought, or multi-press.
We have no. It's a good question. I know a lot about that. We had a multi-press. We have multi-press. That's our website. So our natural philosophy is a multi-press. Problem with multi-press is the software. I've had to write some on my own. It's not that great. They don't do a lot of cooperation. Multi-press doesn't have it so that everybody who has a blog on our website, they automatically go and appear in a place. Here's all the people in their picture and their blogs of what they're writing. So we do use that. Wiki also does have a news type of thing going on as well. That's something I don't want to get into right now. We have we use WordPress multi-site already, and we have blogs that's working out quite well. Our blogs are being indexed. If you go to Google, you're going to find, Harry was like complaining, oh, no one's reading. Harry's stuff is already can be found in Google. That's one of the reasons we write these, not because if you write a blog on the CNPS article, it goes out to over 1,000 people worldwide within our groups, but it also gets indexed by Google. And so if you type in something that's very specific to your article, it comes up. So the idea is we are getting out there so that when people Google a topic and you're talking about it, it will come up in a search on a page.
But I would have, can I ask you an extension of thinking here, and that is massively open online course, and the people on the committee step for that building and running moved internationally decades.
I'm not hearing, you're going to have to speak up. Say that one more time a little louder. I'm not hearing you.
Oh, sorry. Massively open online courses, and that might even relate something to students wanting to use the CNPS Wiki. But do you see any links between what you've done and the ability to scale it up or to link with massively open online course type of systems?
I don't know. I'd have to take a look at that. I guess because I'm so concentrated right now in getting the information in, I'm not too worried about that. Here's one thing I am worried about is we don't want to go too fast, because right now they go to scientific papers, for instance, they're going to get 6,000 abstracts with no paper, and most of them not with a link to that paper. If we had a link to that paper before in our database, which we probably have a couple thousand with links, they can read it. But what I want, you can really get yourself into trouble in marketing if you put even though this wiki is very well put together, and it's what I've taken a lot of time thinking and imported a lot of information, we're not ready for prime time yet. So what we want to do is once we are ready for prime time, we can talk about these things that you're mentioning. So that's the way I would put it right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? comments?
Just one more question.
Yes.
Alternate thinking. So let's say I have a small community within CNPS. I don't, but I mean, just
Let's see.
assuming that it did.
Yes.
For big black holes or big bang.
Right.
And it had quite radically different and
yes.
Contradictory sort of viewpoints.
Right.
How does this allow that to foster?
So are you saying that if we have two people talking about Big Bang theory in different ways?
Well, wouldn't it be just, let's say, two sub-communities within CNPS that have...
No, we have no problem with it. Here's the way, the Wikipedia has no problem with that. I'll give you a good example, is the electric universe. There's some very interesting things that the electric universe does. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, but that I will go to bat for them, just like the principles of democracy. I will go to bat for them and say their stuff should be part of this wiki. Their stuff should be, and they should put it in a very encyclopedic way. You don't have to agree with it. I don't agree with it. But the thing is somebody likes that. Somebody wants to know about that. That's the problem with Wikipedia. That's the problem with science in general. You should be able.
At the beginning.
Right.
Is that the Wikipedia problem is consensus, and that's kind of like the opposite of what.
Because I will tell you, I have gotten some of my best ideas. My dad and I are writing a book, a particle model of the entire universe. I mean, it's literally a physical model of everything. I wouldn't have gotten a lot of those ideas from not listening to things I didn't agree with and reading about them. And it doesn't mean I'm right or they're right or someone's right. This is our model. It's our model. But the thing is, it's a travesty, and it makes us not go forward. I mean, my mentor, Dr. Karazani, he had people with an experiment in hand, master's degrees, go to Carnegie Mellon and other places and say, I've got an experiment that show special relativity wrong directly. And both of those students were taken into their office, shut the door, said, do you want a career in physics? If you do, don't do this experiment. We're not going to support it. Now, that's stupid. So we need to have that. So I don't care, it can be a pretty far out, like Margaret Wortham and the smoke rings and the Tory, that's this one guy's model. I think it's fascinating. I'm going to be working on the second book called Universe Hack 4 on the atom. I got to read that guy's stuff. It should be an encyclopedia. This guy should be right or wrong. Should be there. So absolutely. So if you have people and they want to put their stuff, like, I just wish someone gave me a space in an encyclopedia that I could write this in an encyclopedic form. That's what this is, and that should be there just along. And if we have a theories page, we actually have the theories page. We're eating into his time, but let me see if I can share this real quick. And this will give you you're probably hopefully seeing that, theories and models. We have I don't know if we have the force equations here. I think I may have put it there. Glenn Borkert has his. Here's our particle theory. You go in here. Neo-mechanics, the cycle theory. There it is too. Purely alternative extinction principle shift. We need to put in all the theory and model that Dr. Lucas has. This is the place for him. In fact, I think I have theory. I'll go to ours here because I don't know much. Oh, I don't have an Infobox. I need to make an Infobox for theories, so that because we have so many people that would want to be listed there. So there you go. Yeah, we can have all that stuff in there. Absolutely, it should be, and it should be put in. And every person who does it should have a great profile, because we need to show the world the backgrounds of these people that are here today. Their scientific background isn't, well, I was a surfer all my life, and I smoked weed on the beach, and I came up with this wild thing that everything's made out of gummy bears. And no, these people are most of the people here have pretty amazing backgrounds as well. So this whole thing is to put that out there so that the student who also have questions about the mainstream can go to place, oh, look at all these guys. Look at this guy's like me. He was an artist and a scientist, but now he does this. Oh, I don't feel, hey, there are people like me. So any more questions? I think we're gonna have to cut off here because we need to get Bruce to talk about forums. Oh, so I'll go ahead and stop. Let's just do that. I will get myself out of the way. there you go. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time listening to me. And it's way further than I thought. Please, 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 let's get this wiki going, man. This is great stuff. So you register, and I will have to prove you. Let me know you registered and you want to work on it. And I'll be trying to work on these converters for everybody, and I'll let you know. Okay? So hand it over. Thank you so much.
Okay, this is Bruce's. Frank, are you there?
Yep.
Frank?
Yeah, can you hand it over to Bruce and introduce him and all that?
All right, let's see here. So Bruce, that's Bruce Nappi. He has done a lot of work on our CNPS forum. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about it, Bruce? I've got your presentation up.
Yeah.
Let's see here. No, actually, I don't think I have your presentation.
Yeah, well, there's not a presentation. Just if you would, go to the forum page and bring up the index. That's all we need to start.
Okay. Okay, so now what is the URL for your forum?
Well, again, go to the CNPS page, you know, the home page, and just click on forum. I think it comes up now.
Okay.
David made that change.
All right, let's share that. Okay, so here are the forums.
Yes, there we go. Okay, and again, I'm not gonna. There's not a lot of slides, and my presentation, so to speak, will be a lot shorter. And I want to be more interactive with everybody who's listening than making a presentation, because this is going to be very different from what David's approach. I'm not going to try to go through and show you how to use the forum. For anybody who does want to know how to use the forum, the first section there that's on your screen, there's an introduction. And if you click, if you click on that introduction, it gives you guides and it walks you through user guides. And I had to create that guide. It didn't exist before, but it's there. And you click it open, it pretty much walks you through it, right? And there's an introduction from me. And then, as I say, the user guides are listed. I'm also working on an administrator's guide, and it's posted for administrators and moderators. It's not directly on the user page, but anything the user needs is there. What's more important to get an idea of what I'm trying to do with the forum, I'll ask Franklin to go back up to the top index level. And then, yeah, right there. Now, yeah, you've got it. If you go over to the left side of where you're pointing, you'll see where it says John Chappell Natural Philosophy. Okay, there you are. So now just scroll down until you get to I think it's section 3, and it starts to talk about relativity. So you're in one CNPS now. Go down until you're at the heading where it's 3, up into, sorry, go back up to 2 where we're talking about relativity. Okay. So what drove me to get back into the forums was when the email strings that were running, and there were all these discussions that Nick Percival was starting with Matthias and so forth back in September, back in July, and there were literally hundreds of email exchanges. In fact, there were thousands. And the problem with an email exchange is what I call the internet landfill. There's so much of it. There's no way to record it. There's no way to sort it, that it just disappears from our minds. We essentially go through it. And so I've been working for a long time on systems to try to capture the knowledge that goes on in these email interchanges. So what I've been doing with the email forums is I've been recording every one of the comments. And right now, unfortunately, I have over 4,000 comments that no human can possibly read. So the idea of the forum was to break it out in fine detail so that any member who comes in and wants to know what's going on about Earth, global expansion tectonics, or about relativity can just go through a simple index, find their topic, click on it, and they now got a much smaller group of emails to read, and they can jump back in, but then again focused on around one topic at a time. So what you see now on the screen is it's 2.0 relativity, and under that it breaks down into 2.1 special relativity, and then that breaks down into 2.1.1 broad questions. This format of an outline that has sub-levels, 2.1 or the 3-level 2.1.1, is what I was trying to do with the MIT software. And that worked great in the fall to start to organize the relativity discussion. Unfortunately, that's actually a pretty old project at MIT, and they're mothballing it. The professor who was working on it is going off to other things. So he told me, yeah, you have all the rights if you want to use all the formatting and stuff. And so I started trying to make it work, and it wouldn't work. So when the forum idea, when David and I were talking about the forum, he said, yeah, Bruce, so let's get the forum going. Well, I tried a bunch of forums, and none of them had enough outline levels to deal with the complexity that we were talking about science. So what I did is I chose this MyBnB because I could artificially create these levels. These levels that you're seeing, the 2.1.1 and underneath 2.1.1.1, they don't really exist in that program. I found a way to get around that and make it look like they do. And so it's working fine. And anybody who wants to know more about it, I explain it. So it's a virtual system, but it works, and we have this. And at the present point, anyone who's involved in the forum who wants to add topics, just write me a note and say, Bruce, add these 5 topics, and I'll try to help you figure out where to put them, or you can tell me where you want them, and I'll put them right in there. And as soon as they get to the topic level, which is the white background with the blue lettering, not the big banners with the blue and black, but the white letters. Now, just where Franklin has it now, it says ether and field theory, Big Bang, expansion tectonics. All those are things that every member can go in and add stuff to. So it doesn't require me to be involved. People can do this on their own. So that's how I got to the forum, and there's more than 300 hours of work in getting this going. So when David says it takes a lot of hours, give you an idea, it's not like 50 or something, or for him it's hundreds and hundreds of hours. That created the forum, and I'm glad to see a lot of names like Harry's there, Hans is there, Roger's in it, Cornelis. So you're all starting to work in the forum. Feel free to start expanding what you see there. So let me say one more thing about goals, and then I want to have you all interact with me back about that. The goal of this was to take concepts from members, and anyone, this applies to anyone who has a theory. And we'll take Nick Percival, for example, in his idea of the twin paradox. If Nick wanted to go forward and expand that with the help of all the members, he should start a project on the forum and say, please, members, jump in with me, discuss this. Our goal is producing an outcome paper. And that's where these new Wikimedia stuff that David's working on came in, because I got a hold of David in the fall and said, let's crank this Wikimedia up. So if we talk about plate tectonics or expansion tectonics, and 100 of us work together and come up with new scientific principles, we need a way to express this, and it should be the wikis. And that's where David jumped in, and now the whole structure of this is coming together. So the idea is to discuss it on the forum, drive it toward a paper, produce a paper, and then we'll figure out how to get the paper more attention than the papers are getting now. So on that, I want to ask anybody to jump in and comment on that whole idea.
Well, I think it's great, and I'll give an example of how this already has been great for me personally. Is I've always wanted to put in 2 people, James Maxwell and Ron Hatch, to ask them questions and have it recorded somewhere for all time. You know, that's been really hard. We do this with email chains. If you go, I'll show you one that's revolutionary. It could change our whole, if you go to GPS, try to find the one with GPS and Ron Hatch. We also have people who can ask questions. So I think Ron Hatch is a moderator for GPS.
Okay, now David, is that you talking?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So Franklin, go down to, I think, it's in the twos where we talk about alternative relativity concepts. So maybe 2.4. There you go.
GPS
2.3.
and relativity.
Right. And relativity, GPS and relativity is a small section now, but if it starts to get a lot of attention, we'll break it out and give it a larger.
Let me just give you everybody. This is actually very exciting. You should everyone here should read this. I had asked Ron Hatch when he got his reward. He said, "What about C plus V? That is in satellites. You add the speed of the satellite to V, and you get this. If you read this, he actually is in communication with NASA right now." He said, "It's funny you asked me, Dave. I spent all night after I had asked him. He spent all night, did the calculations, and the picosecond difference show exactly the difference. And NASA, it was asking someone who can tell us why there's this pico difference in time with the GPS, because our calculations are always off by this." Ron Hatch, who has 30 patents, sends his answer to NASA. It's simple. You have to add the speed of light plus the speed of the satellite, which is picoseconds, and that will do your correction. That is huge. If NASA admits this and says, yeah, we've got to add, that blows special relativity right out of the water. So this is happening because of this. We have this. I'm here. I asked about it. I knew this was a big thing. He goes, "I'm going to calculate that." And he goes, "By the way, NASA's worrying this." I sent it to him, and we're waiting a response literally now for NASA to talk about it. This is all via the forum. This happened. So read. You know, that's a good example of it. You know what? And this is what Bruce was saying. I think it's just a brilliant idea. Is we can get and work with Ron and people who are interested in this. And what do we produce? We should produce some real paper with data. In a lot of times, one person, Ron himself, was in his 80s. We got to work together. I mean, we're not all spring chickens anymore. And, you know, this is the place. We have a place to do this. And I mean, this is brilliant the way MBB that you picked. Bruce, I love this. The forum works really well. And the way you are organizing this, in the beginning, I wasn't getting it, but now I'm starting to see how this works. And cooperation is really what you're talking about, right?
Right, right. And another thing that's, I think I want to emphasize right now is something that you brought up, David, over and over again. It's not about saying that we know what's right and we're only going to post things that are common knowledge in the science. That's what's wrong with the Wikipedia. It's a consensus thing that drives to only one or two answers. What's important here is diversity. And I think, Franklin, I want you to comment on this too, is to see how when you came to me and said you wanted to talk about your positron electron stuff, and I gave you a whole section for that, it was to imply for everybody else that this is inclusive.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. And so you have a section and people can jump in and then you can haggle back and forth like they do on email, but you have a chance to say that.
Well, it's recorded. That's the problem. Before we couldn't have that.
Right, it's recorded.
We have all these email chains going on with some really amazing dialogue. You know, when he put it down, I went at him. He and Franklin and I were talking. But see, it's great to do that, but if no one's paying, you know, if it's not recorded anywhere, you can actually go in and see it and then comment when you want. That's really great.
Sure. And the second thing is important for people to understand with this is, you know, when David was talking about bringing over information into his wiki formats, he's talking about like 13,000 pages came over. There were 6,000 full papers. Those kind of numbers, there's no human that can grasp the content of that. And so the other thing that I hope is a real help with this is that it has enough categories so that 6,000 papers gets whittled down to divided by 100 into 60 topics. that people can look at and say they make sense. You know, they divide them 60 topics into 7 possible realms. And so it's easy to start to find what you want.
Yeah,
and
you can do
focus
that.
what you say, yeah.
You can do that in categories in Wikipedia. What you do is you put a category at the bottom, and anything with that category then will show up in a listing in the category page, which is automatic in Wikipedia. So you know you can start category. We already have categories. We have topics that we already had in our database, and I imported those. But that's something that it can constantly be worked on.
Well, but you see here now, this is where the teamwork comes in, because once you say that the category system is working in the CNPS Wikipedias, then we'll take the forum and make sure that the two match.
Right.
The people say, okay, I'm reading something in the Wikipedia here. I don't agree with that. I want to have a discussion. They go right to the forum, and the forum is a match. They find it, they discuss it. The results go back into the Wikipedia.
Right.
And this was the drive of my whole structured discussions. And we'll lead the world in teaching them how to have these kind of discussions, because I can't find anybody else who's doing it.
No, it's not. And that's where I think one of the brilliant shifts we made really in 2015, it was with CNPS, was the change of our marketing from dissident to critical thinker. And that that was an idea that I had, and I got it really from the politics that were going on in 2015, 2016. What people were saying was, look, we're not critically thinking about our politics and our planet and our, you know, what we're doing to it, all that. And so I was starting to see that, and I said, that's exactly what makes us different. And the dissident sort of had a bad critical thinking requires you to, instead of going to a university and the teacher saying, okay, what they do now is you're told what the truth is, you regurgitate that truth, you can sort of ask questions around it that are acceptable. But what teachers should be doing is, this is the current way we think. But there's these other people who have something different, and science would go forward. Universities do not do critical thinking, and us shifting to the idea of critical thinking, we are the world leaders in critical thinking and science. There's no doubt about it. And now we have, with this forum and wiki, we have a place where we can put an immense amount of data, an immense amount of great people, and people are going to be very impressed. That's why it's very important too for all of us to make our profiles big and juicy and interesting, because one of the accusations 20 years ago with our group was, they're not professors, they're all a bunch of amateurs doing it. You look at the backgrounds of some of these people in our group. I mean, as scientists, even if you're not even talking about outside the mainstream, they're amazing scientists. So all of this, I think, Bruce, I want to just thank you up and down for all the stuff that you've been doing to organize this, because I was really pretty much on my own building the website and stuff. And then when you really came in and was not worried necessarily about the exact science, but how is the science being recorded? Where? How should it be organized? How does it make it easier to grow? I mean, I just can't thank you enough. Your presence, it's really great. But you know, congratulations. I'll let it go to other people now.
Sure. Any other comments from anyone?
I have a question. Huh?
Okay, and who's talking?
Pal Asija.
Okay.
I have a question kind of common for both David and Bruce. And that question is basically, what motivates people like you to invest so much of your time in it? I mean, what's in it for you? Or is it purely altruistic?
I mean, you can go ahead, Bruce. I mean,
yeah, in my it's not altruism exclusively, and when people come forward and say we just do it for altruistic reasons, I think they're not looking at themselves and understanding where they get enjoyment from it or where they get fulfillment of it. For me, I've got a paper. I think, and this is my space lattice theory paper, and I think it's a discovery that's going to produce amazing results. But I also realize, like other papers I've written in the past, it's only half baked. You know, I've completed a bunch of hours in it, but it's got a lot of understanding to do The mathematics has to be expanded. So where did I come? I came to CNPS to find other people to work with me on the paper. And what I found out is there were so many things going on, people couldn't coordinate well.
Right.
So this whole effort that I'm doing ultimately could help my paper, but my goal of my paper isn't just a personal idea of saying, see, Bruce invented something great. It's, does my knowledge really work, or am I chasing the wrong direction? I don't want to go in the wrong direction. I want to find a direction that leads to real science. And since I'm hoping most of the other members of this do as well, we have to find a way to get each other to comment on what we do and help expand it. And so this is my goal. And it works for both of us. It's a win-win-win-win situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, pal, I've thought about that too, because especially with the movie that I made, I spent so many years. And it really comes down with me that I am an artist and a scientist. And that's usually you're a little bit of art and a lot of science, or vice versa. But, you know, I can hang with the best artists in the world, and I can I'm hanging with the best scientists, you guys, in the world. And I thought about that. And my answer is art on my side, believe it or not. There's things about artists that has one very important factor, and that is showing the world truth. Artists, whether they're writers, they're painters, they're movie makers, you are trying to show the world something, a truth that you think that they don't see or that should be seen. And that's where I get, I get livid knowing that Ron Hatch and uh, Dr. James Lucas and Dr. James Maxwell are not, you know, great scientists that everybody's studying. Why is that? That's asinine. And so my artist side gets really mad, and I thought about that. And so artists are people who want to see truth and push truth out there, and that's what drives me to make the system work. And like Bruce, I have, you know, my dad and I are working on our own stuff, but really, for me, it has nothing to do with that, because I didn't have my own model until 2 years ago, and that wasn't even, I never planned on it. I was the one always harping, I don't have a model, and so I was doing this decades before I had anything myself, so I didn't have anything. That for me personally, it was more just wanting to show there's a truth, and that's an artist side for me. So that's my answer.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the top of the hour here. So why don't I go ahead and summarize? So today we've had David de Hilster and Bruce Nappi. And initially we were talking about the conference. So that is coming right up, July. It'll be here July 22nd before you know it. It's actually hard to imagine. We're already in April.
Yeah.
So, you know, reserve some time. Think about get your vacations set up, and at least save the date starting today. So you need to start working on that if you want to go to the conference.
And papers too. Remember, papers. You start on your papers and proceedings. You don't have to even be in the conference, but get those papers started, and we'll help you get it on Latex if you've not done it before. We even have people that will help you for free to do that. But proceedings right now, if you want to do anything, get your paper in this year's proceedings. You want to start now.
Yep, it's coming right up. Be here just before you know it. Then we started looking at our new Wikipedia. And David is encouraging everyone to update their pages and take a look at what's inside here. And then finally,
David, question for you: where do I find the latex on the website?
You mean you click on Wiki at the very top, top right. Oh, latex. Oh, latex. No. There, if you go to help, about, and help, there I made some videos on that. So if you go to our website, which you can get to by hitting on our organization, you go to.
Well, I'm looking at John Chappell Natural Philosophy.
Go to about. Go to about.
Site.
Go to about.
There's no about.
There it is. Okay, and then go to help.
I don't see an about. What are you talking about?
Well,
on the very top. of the screen, there's a menu, and the third to last is about.
And
So there I'm sharing it. There's the videos.
Yeah, there's a video instruction on Share Latex CNPS paper tutorial.
So I have to go to help?
Yeah.
Yeah, here, if you just look on the screen, we've got the page up there for you.
He's showing it to us.
I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't see it on the site.
It's help.
I'm looking at the site. I'm at home, John Chappell Natural Philosophy Society, and I'm at the home page.
Right, and there's about at the top.
Oh, okay, there's about. So I go
underneath about, you can hit on help.
Now, what does that do for me?
It gives you I give you a tutorial on YouTube going through Share Latex.
So how do I download the Latex software?
If you go to the home page again, go to the home page, please.
Okay.
Okay. Can you do that as well, Franklin?
Yeah. So we're on the home page.
No, back on the home page.
Home page. Okay, going back to the home page.
Okay. Click on proceedings. It's right there. Click on accepting proceedings. Proceedings 2007. There's a little link there. See it there?
That one, that tiny link
I don't
there.
see proceedings. What are you talking about?
The top of the home page, and there it tells you that's the page you really want. So if you go to conferences, you can either get to that by going under conferences at the top and click on proceedings. If you go to conferences, Franklin, go to the conferences and hit on proceedings 2007. It will tell you all about conferences. Click on proceedings 2007. It's a submenu. There you go. It will tell you all about Share Latex. It'll tell you what you need to do. You got to go in. It says we set up your folder in Share Latex. It has a link to it. That whole thing. So that'll tell you in detail. And then we have, of course, the help video, which is also there.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
All right, so everyone get their paper started, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the forums. I mean, I was kind of scrolling through, and I was just amazed about all the things that have been showing up in the forums. So that's certainly an area that if you're looking for interesting stuff to read, well, check out what's going on in our forums and participate. So I thank David and Bruce for presenting today. And I believe that will do it for this week's edition of our science chat. And we'll see you. We do this just about every week. And I encourage anybody who would like to do a presentation, like Stephen, certainly we would like to have anybody come and give us a presentation during any of our weekly science chats. But that will do it for today. So thank you.